Enjoying Toku shows in the US was pretty complicated in the 90s compared to all the options that we have today. My very first time ever seeing it was, of course, MMPR. I didn't actually discover the series myself. My sister is the one who found it first. She's a little older than me, but I can remember the first thing I saw from the show. It was on a weekday, she turns on Fox, and I see these robotic dinosaurs forming together. At the time, I was watching Transformers, so I thought it was something like that. So I was like, cool, I'll watch this stuff. Your show has metal dinosaurs? I usually went for that. People always said MMPR was like Saved by the Bell plus superheroes. I never really saw it that way. I saw it like, this is some fun action show with real people. Most of the action shows in kids' TV was just cartoons. Things like Spider-Man, X-Men, Iron Man, Extreme Dinosaurs, Street Sharks, King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. All these old 90s shows, so Power Rangers stuck out from all of them. My sister was the one who knew the show was using foreign footage to make MMPR. She saw the Jew Ranger text on their morphers, and I always wondered why Rita's mouth didn't work right. It was hard to find anything about Sentai in the 90s. It was like pulling teeth. Eventually, we kind of created a game, Spot the Japanese footage, either by seeing Asian people and how the suits changed from being plain to shiny. I also tried to guess what the original episode was about. The first thing I remember with spotting stuff was seeing Dan fall down behind the Rangers in the Rockstar episode. He was wearing blue and Billy was missing, so I was like, that must be the original guy. Then I remember the Zordon footage of him fighting one of the monsters. This guy wore a similar outfit. Then over reruns of MMPR, I always looked out for these costumes to see if I could spot them in other places. Of course, more and more times I noticed them. It took a long time for me to ever see a Super Sentai episode. We started getting some basic information from the internet, like people scan the Japanese magazines or basic bio-info on the seasons. It started around Lightspeed Rescue, where my sister found this online guy who made bootlegs of the show. He taped the reruns or copied the official toy tapes and then sold them. They were never subtitled long before major fan subbing groups started up. We didn't even care at that point. We were just watching tons of anime and Japanese shows as it was, so we bought a few of them. If I'm remembering correctly, each tape had 4 episodes. We got Jew Ranger, O-Ranger, Mega Ranger, Ginga Man, and Go-Go 5. Just seeing the first 4 episodes of Jew Ranger explains so many of the weird things that MMPR did with these episodes. This makes more sense, that makes more sense. Then we started looking online for Time Ranger. It was so hard to even get 1 episode back in the day. Downloading with a 56K modem, using Real Media as the video player, it was hell. That's when I was like, you know, I'd really like Sentai and I still like PR. These are 2 different series. I don't treat it as quote-unquote divert sub-nonsense. Power Rangers is an adaptation, so the show never has to follow Sentai. The only rule is to use the footage. That's what I base my thoughts on all these years. When VHS started to be forgotten about and DVD was king, here came the Super Sentai DVD bootlegs. These didn't last too long. They all ranged in quality. I have owned 2 seasons, Gal Ranger and Hurricaneer. The Gal Ranger set was absolutely abysmal. Nothing made sense. It was just badly translating the Chinese subtitles, like Gal Yellow was called Joe once. With Hurricaneer, I don't know who did the bootleg, but it was okay. It wasn't translated perfectly, but it was proper English. It's why I still have them. The movie didn't fare well. It was badly subbed. I think Upper Ranger was the last season that was put out until Toei got them shut down. Of course, there were other people who did bootlegs, mainly ripping off the fan subs. I remember a really sad Bo Kendra bootleg that they just stole TV Nihon's files and chopped the top off to avoid seeing their "this is a fan sub" warning. I always support official releases when the company does real work, unlike 4Kids and their quote-unquote proper subtitles on Yu-Gi-Oh! Even when they're expensive, like Kamen Rider's V3 set. It was worth the $130 I paid on it. If Shell Factory reaches Hurricaneer, these are going in the trash. Now there's other Toku / Ameritoku shows that came out once Power Rangers became a hit. VR Troopers, Mask Rider, Beetleborgs, Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters, Superhuman Samurai, and Mystic Knights. I didn't watch all of them, but the ones I did were Superhuman Samurai and VR Troopers. Mask Rider and Beetleborgs I never really cared for. Superhuman was really different. They went into a computer, the designs of the show was much different from Power Rangers, and I never heard about Ultraman at that point. Same went with VR Troopers. I went for their suit designs compared to PR's team suits, and we had the whole VR craze in the mid-90s. Anyone remember that TV show called VR5 on Fox? Mask Rider, I never cared about, to be honest. It was supposed to be an official sister show to Power Rangers. I didn't care about the crossover episodes. Dax and the other characters, I thought they were really boring / weird. There were times they acted more hammy than even the MMPR cast. It was like the Brady Bunch, so I passed on it. Beetleborgs and Metallics, I just didn't watch them. It was just that I felt burnt out on superhero shows, so I stuck with PR and left the bugs in the background. I want to say I didn't hate the show. The few times I watched an episode, I thought it was fine. Now, Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters, I didn't even know the show existed until the DVD set came out and someone mentioning it on Twitter. I didn't have cable when I grew up, so I had no idea a company tried to basically make a US Toku show. Bought the DVD set and expected a really bad series. But I gotta say, yeah, it was cheap, corny, and weird, but it had potential. It was different, not based on something. Young kids that turned into these strong heroes, the ultimate secret identity. The main characters I thought were decent. Really, the only thing that limited the show was its budget, stuck being on sets with almost zero exterior filming. I would have liked to have seen a season 2, not to mention give credit to the stunt performers. Their names were nowhere to be found on the show. I don't have much to say about Mystic Knights because I never saw it. 1998 was the time period where I gave up on PR. Yeah, I did. I watched the series from episode 8 of MMPR all the way to Turbo. I really didn't care for Turbo. I just went through the motions, and when it reached that cliffhanger, I just never went back. That was when Pokemon started, so I frankly went to that. So all of In Space and Lost Galaxy, I never watched while it aired. I quit and didn't give it a second thought. I came back because of Lost Galaxy. My sister was the one who watched LG and said, no, you need to watch the show again. It's not junk like Turbo was. This is when LG finished and Fox was redoing reruns while Lightspeed Rescue was on. From that point forward, I stuck with the show. Got through Wild Force, dealt with Overdrive, and now with Ninja Steel. Thinking back to it, if I knew how later bad seasons came out, I wouldn't have quit on Turbo. But I stick around with Ninja Steel. You have to watch the bad with the good. Now for Kamen Rider, I didn't watch it at first. A lot of people were fan subbing it, so it was fairly easy to get. I've seen the movie trailers for Sentai that were coming out, and they showed Kamen Rider. That Ryuki movie trailer was all over the place. I was fine with Sentai, and I never paid mind to it. Den-O was airing at that point, but for some reason, I was like, all right, let me give that Kamen Rider a chance. I tried to find the earliest season that was available complete. Lucky for me, that was 5's. That season, I mean, really clicked with me. From the belts, the characters, their motivations, the way some betrayed them, the secrets. Yeah, it had a crappy ending. It's still my favorite Kamen Rider. Then I simply caught up with the show. I got all the way from Blade to Den-O in a month, then was up to date with Kiva, watched it since. Then I found out that a company actually licensed Kamen Rider V3. I really wanted to see how the series started. V3 was the closest. I got it. Then the Kamen Rider reboot movie. I'm still hoping someone releases the rest of the US. Oh, and I never bothered to watch Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Once a lot of people were saying it was bad, I just ignored it. There's a ton of other Toku shows I've seen, way too many to talk about. Rescue Force, Akiba Rangers, Ultraman, Kikaider, Gavin, Blue SWAT. 18 years ago, I would have never thought I'd get these DVD sets, something official, and that Saban brand sees that having both Super Sentai and PR be available in the US as a good thing. All I ever wanted was someone to give it a chance, and I'm glad it's worked out. I hope they complete Super Sentai here and we get a shot at Kamen Rider again. I really love the superhero genre. It's why I made this channel. I always believe that Power Rangers has every right to be respected, just like Transformers, Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, Voltron. The new movie shows that Power Rangers can be done in a realistic fashion with backstory, emotion, fun action, and good drama. It was a 20-year long path finding out about Tokusatsu. This is how Japanese see heroes, and I hope Japan continues on making more TV series and evolving their classics. There's a reason why Super Sentai has lasted for 40 years. It's just a fun show for everyone.